After a while, Princess Alexa dozed off in the garden and, in her sleep, heard someone calling her name. Slowly, she opened her eyes, and upon seeing Duke Balon in front of her, she immediately jolted awake, startled and still half asleep. Confused, she tried to understand why the Duke was there and how he knew where to find her. Balon explained that he had only just arrived and that the maids had told him the princess liked to spend time in the garden. He also noted that she seemed exhausted, but Alexa assured him she was fine, just tired from staying up late the night before. In truth, Alexa had been in a duel with Lord Eisenhower the previous night, but she didn't want to reveal this to her guest. Instead, she invited the Duke to continue their conversation at the tea table and led him to the gazebo. As they walked, Alexa asked why Balon had arrived so early, given that they were scheduled to meet later in the afternoon. Balon admitted that the king had summoned him to the capital, and Alexa guessed it had something to do with killing the monsters. Balon hesitated before confirming that Prince Wilhelm would handle the monsters. Alexa, slightly worried, remarked that Wilhelm was as stingy as their father. She asked for more details, suspecting that her father was trying to solve the situation by any means necessary. Balon explained that he had refused to participate in the war because he no longer had any official duties, and Alexa sympathized with his decision. She asked when he planned to leave, but Balon remained silent. Noticing her disappointment, he mentioned that he intended to stay in the capital for a while, which made Alexa feel happy, though she quickly composed herself. Curious, Alexa asked why Balon had decided to stay, and he responded with an unexpected answer. He liked the flowers in the garden and wanted to admire them further. His response caught Alexa off guard, and she stared at him, bewildered. The Duke, known for his stoic demeanor, didn't seem the type to appreciate flowers. Nevertheless, she offered to show him the royal garden, suggesting that they didn't need to go immediately if he was busy. However, Balon assured her he wasn't, and he'd love to see the irises in bloom. Alexa's heart fluttered, and a blush crept onto her cheeks, but she tried to keep her feelings in check. As they walked through the garden, Alexa asked what his favorite flower was. Balon admitted he didn't know, as he wasn't familiar with their names. This answer relieved Alexa, who began explaining that most of the flowers in the garden came from distant regions. She had heard that they were difficult to cultivate because they were so unfamiliar. Alexa paused, deep in thought, and Balon noticed her introspective expression, becoming slightly concerned. She realized that the foreign flowers mirrored her own sense of alienation. Just as the flowers struggled to adapt, she too felt like an outsider in this world. Balon interrupted her reverie by gently taking her hand, apologizing for his earlier comments about the garden, and offering to make it up to her by taking her to a festival in the capital. Alexa was momentarily flustered, unsure if he was asking her on a date, but she quickly agreed, admitting she would gladly attend. At that moment, her sister, Princess Ariel, appeared, greeting Alexa with a smile. Ariel mentioned that she had planned to visit because she heard Alexa was unwell. Though Alexa insisted she was much better now, she couldn't help but note that her sister hadn't been in any particular hurry to see her. Ariel then expressed surprise at seeing Duke Balon with her sister, commenting that she hadn't expected him to still be in the capital. Balon greeted Ariel politely, while Ariel's servant, Giselle, reminded Alexa to address the Duke by his title, even though she was of royal blood. Alexa found Giselle's interference annoying and cowardly, especially since she only seemed brave around Ariel. However, Balon quickly diffused the tension by explaining that he had specifically asked Alexa to call him by his name. Giselle promptly apologized to Alexa for her rude remark. Ariel then apologized on her maid's behalf, offering tea as a gesture of reconciliation, but Balon declined, saying the apology should be directed toward Alexa, not him. Ariel found it unusual that Alexa and Balon addressed each other by their first names and realized they had grown much closer. She remarked that she was happy for her sister, as she had worried about her being alone in the palace without friends. Alexa recognized this as another veiled insult, meant to make her seem pitiful. Ariel went on to say that she was pleased with their friendship, even admitting she was a bit jealous. This comment struck a nerve with Alexa, and she fought to keep her patience in check. Ariel invited them to join her tea party, but Balon politely refused, saying he had other matters to attend to. He offered to escort Alexa back to the palace, and she agreed, though she hadn't expected the conversation to end so abruptly. As they left, Ariel watched them with a mix of confusion and irritation, while Balon led Alexa away, walking at a quick pace. Sensing that he was in a hurry, Alexa tried to keep up, but then Balon slowed down, surprising her. He picked the most beautiful rose from a nearby bush and gently placed it in her hair, telling her that he always had time for her. Alas! The gesture made Alexa's heart race, and she shyly agreed that the rose was beautiful. The next day, Alexa met Ariel again for tea. Ariel offered her cookies, recalling that her sister loved them, and Alexa thanked her. Ariel asked how things had gone with the Duke, and Alexa reassured her that she had behaved appropriately, so there was nothing to worry about. Though Alexa was keenly aware that Ariel had likely orchestrated their encounter the previous day. Ariel pressed on, asking about the details of their conversation, and Alexa nonchalantly mentioned that they had discussed attending the Festival of Abundance together. Ariel, visibly displeased, told Alexa that she couldn't attend the festival with Beau, explaining that the royal family was required to host the celebration, and Alexa, being part of the family, had to participate. Though Alexa knew she didn't need her sister's permission, she chose not to argue. Instead, she quietly sipped her tea, resolving that no matter what, she wouldn't let her sister stand in her ways. Newmanhwa says, during her childhood, Alexa had always been secretive about her plans with Balon, and even now, she didn't want anyone else to know. She reminded herself how Ariel hadn't told her about her relationship with the Maras of Belford, and similarly, Alexa decided to keep this information to herself. Afterward, the second princess advised Ariel not to waste time on her, but to spend it with the Marquis. At that moment, Ariel's expression was hard to read. Was she happy or on the verge of tears? Later, Alexa went to meet the Duke alone, which surprised him. He expressed concern for her safety and insisted that a servant accompany her next time. However, Alexa didn't feel like someone who needed help, which slightly upset Balon, as he hadn't meant to offend her. She assured him she was fine and suggested they get moving if they wanted to see everything at the festival. Alexa couldn't quite believe that she was attending her first festival with Balon by her side. As they wandered through the bustling streets, Alexa noticed skewered chicken and honey treats being offered, which she wanted to try. The Duke, worried she might get lost, tried to stop her, but Alexa insisted that she wasn't a child. She found it endearing that Balon worried about her. Teasingly, she reminded him that she was a monster after all, so he needn't worry so much. Just then, she heard sweets being advertised, her favourite, and wanted to taste them. Understanding she wouldn't be deterred, Balon gave in and let her go. Alexa was touched by his concern, finding him so endearing that her heart fluttered. She noticed how much she enjoyed being around him, though she hesitated to spoil the moment with words. As they walked, Balon handed her a sweet snack, which seemed to appear out of nowhere. When Alexa asked how he got it so quickly, he explained that the crowd let him skip ahead. Amused, Alexa teased him for his untouchable status and offered to share the snack with him. At first, Balon declined, saying he wasn't hungry, but Alexa playfully insisted, and he finally agreed to let her feed him. She was charmed by how adorable he looked at that moment. Balon admitted he didn't like sweets, but he didn't mind indulging her this time. Alexa, surprised, confessed that she had only been joking, but Balon reassured her that he didn't mind. In turn, he fed her some of the snack, which tasted like heaven to her. As they continued walking, the area seemed to change. Balon warned her that they were near the mercenaries and guilds, so they should stay alert. Alexa spotted yogurt nearby and immediately craved it. Balon offered to get some, leaving her alone for a moment. While waiting, Alexa noticed a nearby stall selling intriguing items. One small oblong object caught her eye. When she inquired about it, the old saleswoman told her it was a pen, but hinted that it wasn't ordinary. Ignoring the warning, Alexa decided to buy it. Just as she made her choice, a young man named Killian Urgin interrupted, claiming he would buy the pen at any price. Alexa, irritated by his arrogance, asked who he was and why she should give it up. Killian, without missing a beat, snatched the pen from her. Angry, Alexa grabbed his hand, trying to take it back, insisting she had seen it first. Killian smugly pointed out that she hadn't paid for it yet, so it wasn't hers. Alexa tightened her grip, making Killian wince, but she maintained an air of innocence, claiming to be a fragile lady. Frustrated, Killian called her a crazy, monstrously strong fool, which only made Alexa angrier. Just then, Killian's father, Count Eren, intervened, scolding his son for causing trouble at the festival. Killian complained that Alexa had tried to break his wrist, which led to more insults. Balon returned at this moment and, seeing the commotion, asked Alexa to calm down. The princess explained the situation, referring to Killian as an annoying fly. Count Eren apologized to Balon for the trouble, and the Duke revealed that the pen Alexa had wanted was cursed. Startled, Alexa listened as Balon explained the curse. Anyone who touched the pen would lose their magical powers. Killian explained that he had only been trying to prevent her from losing her magic, though she had assumed he was just being rude. Alexa realized she had been unaware of the curse, and when she turned to confront the saleswoman, she had already disappeared. Killian reassured her that she shouldn't have lost much magic, but urged her to be more cautious in the future. The Duke asked Alexa to be more reasonable when buying mysterious objects, and to prove a point, he crushed the pen in his hand. As they left, Killian glared at Balon, sensing the Duke's disapproval. As they continued walking, Balon explained that cursed objects had no effect on him because of his demonic heritage. Alexa found it ironic that the two of them, a demon-born duke and a monster princess, had found each other. She realized that they saw parts of themselves in one another, and that's why they shared such a strong connection. After the tense encounter, Alexa joked about her earlier craving for yogurt, which Balon had forgotten in the commotion. They laughed it off, and Alexa suggested they continue exploring the festival. The princess realized that since His Majesty knew about her outing, Ariel must have been involved. The king continued, stating that Alexia should remain in the palace and accompany the delegation from Elle. He also demanded that she fulfill her duties for the benefit of herself and her assigned companion. At this point, Ariel stepped in, assuring their father that her sister would reflect on her actions. The king decided to end the discussion, but promised he would keep a close watch on Alexa. Ariel could see that her sister was furious, knowing it was because she had informed their father about Alexa's walk. The first princess admitted she did so out of concern, not only because Alexa was unfamiliar with the capital, but also because she was spending time with the Duke. After all, even though he was part of the royal family, he was still a demon, one known for his cruelty. Alexa, however, dismissed Ariel's concerns, reminding her that she was the one who had first invited him for tea. The second princess, growing tired of the conversation, expressed that she had exhausted her trust in her sister. Ariel, now frustrated, accused Ariel of lying, explaining that this was not a matter of trust, but of the Duke's importance to her. She pointed out that Alexa cared for him enough to obey the king's will for his sake. The eldest princess didn't understand why the duke mattered so much to Alexa. Irritated, Alexa retorted that she didn't expect her sister to be upset by this. Ariel demanded an answer once more, but Alexa cryptically replied that Ariel already knew. She added that, in a palace filled with cruel and selfish people, the duke was the only one who ever took her side. Alexa warned that if Ariel continued to act this way, she would only drive them further apart. The second princess, hurt, began to leave, despite her sister's plea to stay and talk things through. A few days later, an unexpected guest arrived at Alexa's residence, Count Eugen. Though surprised, Alexa went to meet him. During their conversation, the Count expressed relief that Alexa was doing well and apologized for not meeting her earlier. Alexa coldly remarked that he must have been busy with family matters. Eugen, ignoring her tone, mentioned that he had heard rumors about her accompanying the delegation from Ilia. Alexa was surprised by how fast rumors spread, and her uncle inquired about her preparations. Alexa admitted that she found state affairs more challenging than she had anticipated. She suspected that the royal family had assigned her this duty to torment her, knowing how difficult it would be. She explained that news of the delegation's infamous reputation had only reached her now, but she was well aware of their arrogance and disdain for her kingdom. Handling the Elian delegation was like managing a ticking time bomb. A single misstep could invoke the wrath of the royal family. To her surprise, Count Eugen offered his help, recognizing the complexity of dealing with Elia. His organization, he explained, could provide her with the resources and training she needed in politics, etiquette, and diplomacy. Alexia understood that her uncle wanted something in return, so she asked him directly about his intentions. The Count, impressed by her businesslike approach, explained that he hoped Alexa would help secure the Eugen family's political standing. He wanted her to represent their family and restore their prominence, which had faded since her mother's death. Alexa, hesitant, pointed out that unlike her sister, she lacked the power and political influence to make a significant difference. But Eugen assured her it wasn't about power. He wanted her to stop living in the shadows. He reminded her of the hardships she had faced, losing her mother, being exiled to the palace, and living an isolated life. Eugen believed that Alexa had become a victim of circumstance, and that she needed to reclaim her agency. The princess, still confused by his intentions, asked what exactly he wanted her to do. Eugen explained that he wanted her to represent the Eugen family, re-establishing their place in society. Alexa, shocked, learned more about her mother's tragic past. Eugen revealed that after her mother's death, the Eugen family had been ostracized due to rumors that had labeled them as the family of a concubine who had taken her own life. Alexa was devastated by the revelation, as she had never known the full truth about her mother's death. She suspected that someone in the royal family had spread the rumors to undermine their status. Curious, Alexa asked if the royal family, specifically King Raphael, was behind these events. Eugen cautioned her against speaking ill of the monarch, but Alexa persisted. She realized that her uncle sought revenge against the royal family and wanted to use her to achieve it. He confirmed this, explaining that their family's future depended on her ability to navigate the political landscape. Despite her reservations, Alexa knew that Eugen was right. The royal family would continue to tighten their grip on her. She reluctantly agreed to his plan, understanding that she could no longer avoid this conflict. Eugen assured her that the Eugen family would support her, but Alexa knew that if they failed, they would lose everything. As they parted ways, Alexa remained lost in thought. She realized that she could no longer live a quiet, peaceful life. The stakes were too high, and her role in the royal game had already been set. However, she couldn't shake her doubts. doubts about whether she was ready to face the challenges ahead. Later, as she walked through the palace gardens to clear her mind, the Duke of Balan approached her quietly.